So you're trying to get that perfect credit score in 2021. I'm going to break it down for you so you can learn what you need to do coming up. Hey everyone, if you've been trying to work on your credit and you have barely been seeing any results, you need to go ahead and take a look at the workshop that I just opened up that is currently free so that you can learn where you went wrong while you were trying to work on your credit. During that lesson, you'll learn the 4 don'ts when it comes to working on your credit, the mistakes people make when writing dispute letters, why you shouldn't only dispute with the credit bureaus, and also the accounts that people waste time disputing. Not to mention, you'll get to see real results from a customer who used my methods and they were able to get their credit straightened out and bought a brand new home within 7 months. So go ahead and sign up for that training today. The link is going to be down in the bio. And while you're trying to work on your credit, you have to see all 3 of your credit reports and scores. And MyScoreIQ, a company that I use for myself and for all of my customers, has a $1 7-day trial so you can see your credit reports and scores so you can know where you stand, because you can't work on your credit without knowing what's going on all 3 reports. So please check out MyScoreIQ. The link to them is going to be down in the description as well. Will Frazier here, your credit expert, bringing you the credit tips you need to get your credit back on track, because what goes down must come up. And if you don't want your credit score to drop 180 points, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you'll be notified of any videos I drop just like this. So you're trying to obtain that perfect credit score that everybody is trying to get. But first thing, do you even know what the perfect credit score number is? I know some of you may know what it is, but a lot of people don't know because they've seen different scoring models that'll bring your credit score up to as much as a 900. So first off, you need to know what is the basic and most common credit scoring model or score range, which will actually be that perfect score that most people are trying to achieve. Now, the first thing is, when you're looking at your credit score, you want to make sure you're looking at a FICO score and not a Vantage credit score. If you try to go and get your credit score from Credit Karma, you're looking at a Vantage credit score. Now, why does that matter? Because the Vantage credit score can be anywhere from 10 points, 20 points to 100 points different, and usually higher than what the FICO score would be. So why does that matter if it's higher? Basically because when you go to the lender, they're going to be using the FICO score. And if you've ever seen your credit score look like it's really high looking at Credit Karma, and then you go into the lender's office or call them and then they tell you have much less of a score than what you thought you had, you're going to feel very deflated, and then you're going to be trying to figure out what's going on. So that's why it's best to always look at a FICO score when you're trying to figure out what your score really is. And also, if you go to Equifax.com or TransUnion.com and try to get your credit scores from them, you are going to get Vantage scores directly from the credit bureaus, because they actually created that credit bureau score. Now, those 2 are the ones that use the Vantage score, and there are other sites out there that you can actually get your FICO score. The one that I use is MyScoreIQ. I use it for myself and all my customers, and right now they have a $1 7-day trial, so you can check out your score if you need to take a look at that. I got a link to it down in the description. So now that you know that you need to be looking at a FICO score and not a Vantage score, what is that number that you need to get to in order to have a perfect credit score? So to have a perfect credit score, you will want to be looking at a 850 credit score. The lowest score that happens in that scoring range is a 300, and I'm pretty sure you're not trying to get anywhere near there. Now, what most people don't realize is it's a lot of factors that go into calculating a credit score. It's not just as simple as one thing negative is gone, so you should just shoot up magically. A lot of people think like that, but that's not how it works. Some of you may have seen something like that happen, but it's because of the makeup of your credit report, and it was more luck than just actually the common thing that happens based on how the algorithm works. Now, basically, a credit score is calculating how likely you are to go 90 days late on an account within the next 2 years. This is the information that lenders wanted, so that's how the credit score algorithm was configured in order to calculate your credit score. So basically, in order to get to an 850, you have to display perfect behavior in regards to how you use your financial accounts. And by that, I mean credit accounts like loans, credit cards, and of course, beyond that, the things that you don't pay end up on your credit report, even if they're not a loan or a credit card, like an apartment, a cell phone bill, a hospital bill. So there are several things you need to be aware of when you're trying to get that perfect credit score. But again, to get to that 850 credit score, you have to display perfect behavior in order to achieve that. Now, there isn't a super clear route to get there, and when I say there's not a super clear route, I mean there is not a blueprint that FICO or anyone has given us in order to be able to know that you just do X, Y, and Z exactly and you will get there. However, based on clues that they have put out there is a way to get an idea on how you can get to that perfect credit score. Now, if you know you're about to get your credit score up to that 850, go ahead and put in the comments that you got next in 2021. So, without further ado, the first thing that you need to be aware of when it's time to start working on getting to that 850 is going to be your inquiries. So basically, inquiries show risk. They only stay on your credit report for 2 years. They're counted in your score for 1 year. But in order to show low risk, which inquiries are, you need to have no inquiries, at least within the last year, on your credit report. This will show that you're not trying to constantly get more money or get more credit, which is basically money that you don't have. So it'll make you look less risky, and it'll help the algorithm to give you a boost in score. Another important factor, which I'm sure I don't have to tell you, you cannot have any late payments showing up on your credit report. And for the sake of getting to that 850 score, I'm going to go ahead in this instance and say at least none for the last 24 months. Because as I mentioned to you, the algorithm is looking to see how likely you are to go 90 days late within the next 24 months. So you want to make sure that you don't have any late payments on your credit report over the past 2 years. Now, the next thing that you want to be focused on is the balances on your credit cards, your revolving credit. You want to make sure that you are having them at a low point at all times. Now, when I say low, that basically means that you want to have your credit cards at about less than 10% utilization. Now, of course, getting them down to a lower point is a better thing, and having it at a zero balance versus having it at a $1 balance, I don't believe that makes a really significant difference. But as long as you have your credit utilization very low on any open credit cards that you have and any revolving credit accounts that you have, that will help give you the biggest boost to your credit score. And there are certain hacks that are out there in regards to keeping your utilization low, even if you use your credit card a lot. And if you guys want to see me do a video on that, make sure you leave that in the comments too. Now, outside of building up credit with your payment history and your utilization of credit, you also want to make sure that you are keeping any open accounts that you have in good standing open. I don't know if you've heard this already or not, but if you haven't, closing credit cards hurts your credit score. So any credit card accounts you have, you want to make sure you keep those open, because closing them can definitely hurt your score and send you backwards while you're trying to get to that 850. Now, you also have to look at negative accounts. Of course, to have a perfect credit score, of course, you can't have any negative accounts showing up on your credit report. Now, this would be your collection accounts and your charge-off accounts. When I say charge-off accounts, I mean accounts that are from the original creditor, where you still see the name of that original creditor on your credit report, whether it be Wells Fargo, Capital One, or whoever it may be. Now, when you see a collection company, that's usually a third-party company that is trying to collect the money for the original creditor. So you may see a Portfolio, a Midland Funding, or another company like that trying to collect the money for Wells Fargo or Capital One. This is also how most apartment complexes show up on your credit report, cell phone bills, and medical bills. Now, if you do have any of these things on your credit report, there are certain things that you have to do to try to deal with them in order to make sure that you don't have that negative information showing up on your credit report. Now, one tip I give you for the charge-offs, if you don't have the money to try to pay them off and you owe big balances, you might want to reach out to the original creditor and ask them if they wouldn't mind charging off the debt. But you do want to keep in mind that if you do ask them to charge off the debt, they're more than likely going to end up sending you a form and saying that you will have to claim that amount of money that they charged off as income on your taxes. Now, depending on how much money you make, of course, that can take you to the next tax bracket and cause you to pay more taxes. But if you're trying to clean up your credit report and you don't have an option to actually come out of pocket and pay that money, it might be more beneficial to you, if you're trying to get your score up, to ask them if they would be willing to do that, so that it can at least clear up your credit score, so you can get some time to try to save up some money and possibly pay the taxes on that income that you will have to report. But of course, the taxes on that amount of income that you will receive will more than likely be lower than what you would have to pay them. Now, when it comes to your collection accounts on your credit report, what you want to do is, of course, always try to dispute with the collection companies first, because there are a lot of times where they are in violation of things that they're doing on your credit report, or by calling you, or within the letters that they send you trying to collect the debts. So you want to make sure that you check out all that stuff first to see if there's a way that you can get that stuff off your credit report first. And if you've already been trying to work on your credit and you've been struggling with it and you've been trying to see some type of progress with it, make sure you check out the free workshop that I have down below in the description, and it should be able to help you with some of the main areas that most people are missing the mark when they're trying to work on their credit. Now, if you get all of those things down down pat. That is not all that you need to do in order to have a good credit score. Good credit also comes with age. Having a longer credit history will definitely help you to increase your credit score. I've seen that be the missing piece to actually help people get their credit score a lot higher. And when I say age, I'm talking about maybe about 10 years or more. Now, of course, if you haven't been using credit for 10 years, it's going to be very hard for you to actually try to get your credit score up, because you can't do anything but wait time in order to get that age. But there is one way that you can get that quickly. If you know somebody that has had a credit card for a long period of time, somebody like a parent, an aunt, an uncle, or a friend that may be willing to actually add you on as an authorized user to their account, that will be a quick way to add age to your credit report and help get your credit score up by getting that extra age added to your credit in that very important category. Now, if you put all of these things that I've mentioned to you in motion, you are likely to get your 850 credit score going into 2021. Now, of course, it's going to take some work and some effort, and you need to look at your credit report, see where you are now so that you can see what you need to do going forward to make sure that you get there as quickly as possible, because you have the best plan outlined on what you're going to do. Now, I look forward to seeing you guys having those 850 credit scores in 2021. Hopefully you hit the like button on this video so your credit score didn't drop, and if you didn't, go ahead and do it now before we get out this video. But again, thank you guys for sticking around with me until the end, and I'll see you guys next time.